Did you know that in March of this year, Canadians who sought medical assistance in dying were able to fulfill that request if all they had suffered from was a mental illness? This begs the question to what is morally and ethically correct or not, and whether or not this should be legal or whether it should be outlawed. Hi, my name is Mario Casados, and today I am here with Andrea Moreno, and we're going to be discussing the ethics and morals of assisted suicide. Hello, Andrea.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you. And what are your stances on assisted suicide?
I am against it. I don't believe that we should have the right to assist someone who wants to take their life. I understand that there's people who are suffering with cancer and other terminal illnesses. I understand that they're in pain, and I can see why it's easy for them to want to do something like that. However, I believe there's a very fine line, and once we okay things like that, it opens the door to many, many more people wanting to take their lives, especially we have so much mental illness nowadays. Everybody's struggling with depression, anxiety, and I have had postpartum anxiety, and I can tell you how ugly it feels. I mean, you literally feel like you're dying, so it'd be easy to say, just take my life now. And like I said, it just opens the door to many people who are struggling with things like that, and have them say, okay, you know what, I want to end this. I want to check out. I'm done. I've had enough. Go ahead and let's do this. And just give me the needle. I'll check out, and I'll see you guys on the other side if there's anything, if they believe in anything. But it's just very sad because a lot of the youth, especially who is struggling with mental illness, just needs the right mental therapy. They're probably in the wrong place, like I was with postpartum depression for a while, and I'm out of that. Just took some time and maybe medications, and so I definitely disagree with that, because specifically because of that. Like I said, it opens the door to a variety of things that people, oh well, I'm not feeling well, I'm done. It's especially nowadays, it's easy to give up. We can't be. It's so easy to quit like that, and I definitely don't agree with it in that perspective. Also, morally, I don't believe that it's correct. We didn't bring ourselves into this life by our choosing, and we shouldn't be the ones to end our lives by our choosing. Like I said, I know there's cases where people have cancer and people are suffering, and I believe suffering is going to happen regardless in life. We just gotta be those fighters, go down fighting even in the midst of suffering. Let's pick up our crosses and keep fighting a good fight, and so the day that's it, we'll go down as champions, not quitters.
I totally agree with you on that. And back on the topic of mental illness, you had mentioned you had suffered from a postpartum depression. Would you say that could have impaired your ability to make a big decision, like to partake in assisted suicide?
I think for sure. Mentally, it's almost like your mind is just completely somewhere else, and it's hard to think now that I was there, and it's hard to think then when I was going through that I was going to come out from that. There was a light at the end of the tunnel, and there always is.
Yes.
Depression is, if you've known anyone who struggles with depression, it's very chronic. There's chronic depression.
Yes.
And like I said, it definitely triggers, well, not triggers, but impacts, big impact on the choices you make when you're going through an illness like that. And then if you're in a better place, in a better state of mind.
I would totally agree with you in that perspective, as well as someone who was diagnosed with mental illnesses myself. I feel as definitely someone's mental illnesses can impair their ability to make reasonable decisions in that way, which is why I'm against assisted suicide. So I would totally agree with you in that perspective. And another obvious fact about assisted suicide is that it's murderous. Seeing as you are helping to take someone's life, I feel as if it would be morally incorrect in that way.
I agree with you on the moral stance too. If we're gonna go, to morals, I do believe in God, and I believe there's a creator and is the author of life. So morally, I'm there with you also.
And you had mentioned too, there are medications you can take as well. There are resources for those who are suffering from any suicidal thoughts. And I do believe that there's, for most people, a light at the end of the tunnel. One of my favorite YouTubers, David Goggins, he's a huge inspiration on me when I was suffering through some mental illnesses in my past. He was someone I looked up to. He was a health influencer, got me into weightlifting, and overall made me have a different outlook on how I view my life. And seeing how much he appreciated his life made me want to appreciate my life even more. And there have been countless of other people who have been saved from attempting suicide or contemplating suicide, and who have, been on TED Talks. They have been showing people how much there is to appreciate about life. So, with that being said,
I definitely agree with you. Like I said, I know there's suffering in this world, and we can't escape suffering. It's a part of life. It's gonna happen. We can't be quitters and just say, okay, today I'm gonna check out. It's enough. And when we see people in that state of mind, we can't be like, yeah, okay, it's fine. Let's quit. I'll help you quit. No, we gotta encourage each other and build each other up. And when somebody is struggling with a cancer, terminal illness, we can also be there and be their champions, holding their hand, being by their side, letting them know that they're going down, fighting, being champions.
totally agree with you in that perspective as well. Not only is assisted suicide murderous and morally wrong, but I feel like it blurs the line between a socially accepted suicide and a suicide not upheld by societal standards.
For sure. I definitely agree on that. And that is very, very scary because, like I said, now it's being more and more accepted. Assisted suicide is being seen as, everyone should have the right to their own death. And what's even scarier is the mental illness that's on the rise with the youth. How many lives are going to be lost because of if laws like this keep being passed? Tomorrow it can be your 15-year-old sister who's just not mentally well, and we're going to push the bar higher and higher to where even if you're under 18, if you're so mentally anxiety and depressed, you should have the right to end your life. And that makes me very scared, and it's a very sad situation.
Well, thank you, Andrea, for your time.
You're welcome.
And this has been our take on assisted suicide. This is Mario Casados, and I'm signing off.